think I got my remote, got my microphone in my hand here. All right, looks like we're about to be live. All right, we're live, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All of our brothers and sisters watching this study on YouTube right now. You'll probably be seeing it shared later on tonight on Facebook and all the other platforms we share stuff on. So I'm Brother Doug, as always. Shalom, with my brother Joshua here, our sister Sally, our sister, my mom Sharon over there on the other side of the room there. So we're going to be tackling an issue that I see certain individuals in the body of Messiah a little confused on this issue, and I think this is an issue that needs to be tackled, is who is the destroyer of Exodus 12? And just to note, I think part of the confusion is when you start looking at books that are not really scripture, like the book of Jubilees, and Jubilees kind of confuses things with this issue, I'll just say. So, but if we look at actual legitimate sources for scripture and added witnesses for scripture that agree with, the Torah and the prophets and the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, we're going to see how obvious it is who this destroyer actually is. So let me just get my shared screen on here. We're going to go to my Google Docs document here. Okay, so the summary here, just to read it for you guys as an introduction to this study. Many people are wondering who the destroyer is. Is he Yahusha, or Satan, or just a tube angel doing the Father's will, or a fallen angel that is forced to do the Father's will? We will be tackling this issue in this particular study. Okay, so this study is called Who is the Destroyer of Exodus 12? All right, so we're going to be getting into this right now. All right. Okay. So let me just see here. So the first cross-reference we have is from the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum, and it says, "For the splendor of Yahuwah will be manifested in striking the Mitzrites, and he will see the blood upon the lintel and upon the two posts, and the word of Yahuwah will spread his protection over the door, and the destroying angel will not be permitted to enter your houses to smite." Okay, so what we have to address here, right, is there's two individuals being spoken about in this verse, right? You have the word of Yahuwah, and then you have the destroyer. Now, the word of Yahuwah, if we use context here, obviously cannot be the same person as the destroyer, because he's protecting the firstborn of Israel, Yasharel, from the destroying messenger, angel, Malach, whatever term you want to use. Okay, so this messenger, this heavenly messenger, cannot be the same person as the word of Yahuwah. Common sense would tell us. Okay, so let's move on to the next verse. But actually, before moving on to the next verse, because some people are probably saying, Doug, well, how do you know the word of Yahuwah, who the word of Yahuwah is? So I'm just going to go real quick to Revelations here and show you guys something maybe you haven't heard of before. Okay, John in his vision is given this understanding that the word of Yahuwah is literally a name for the Messiah. Okay, the word of Yahuwah literally is a name that Yahusha had. If I was to speculate, it was probably his name way before his earthly ministry, when he was given the name of Yahusha. Mind you, the name of Yahusha is his human ministry name. It's probably not the name he had in heaven before he came to earth, most likely. Okay, So I just want to show you something real quick. In Revelations 19:13, it says, and he is clothed in a robe, having been dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahuwah. So we know, doctrinally wise, sound doctrine, according to Revelations 19, Yahusha's literal name is the Word of Yahuwah. So if we go to the Targums, wherever the Word of Yahuwah is being mentioned, by default, we have to assume that's Yahusha pre-incarnate before he took on flesh. Okay. So that means that the destroying angel is not Yahusha. It's someone else other than the Word of Yahuwah, that the Word of Yahuwah is protecting the Israelites from in context. Okay. That's what the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum is literally saying. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next bullet point here. Okay, this is another verse from the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum of Exodus 12. This is Exodus 12:13. It says, and the blood of the Paschal oblation, meaning the blood of the Passover meal, the matter of, like the matter of circumcision, shall be a bail for you, meaning it shall be atonement for you, to become a sign upon the houses where you dwell, and I will look upon the worth of the blood and will spare you. And the angel of death, the Malach of death, to whom is given the power to destroy, shall have no dominion over you. Where have we heard a phrase like that before in the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament? Shall have no dominion over you in the slaughter of the Mitzrites. So that's Exodus 12:13 in the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum. And what I find interesting is if you go to a couple of verses in Romans here, right? Romans 6:14 says, sin shall have no dominion over you. So it's equating this angel of death to sin, according to Romans. Just something interesting to think about. This angel of death technically has the power of sin. Okay? All right. And you can also find that in Romans 8:1 that the law of Messiah, the law of freedom in Messiah, has made me free from the law of sin and death. Okay. All right. So moving on here, though. A couple more witnesses to show why I believe Satan is the destroyer of Exodus 12. Okay. Hebrews 2:14. We're going to go to Hebrews 2:14 now. So I'll show you guys that real quick. So Hebrews 2:14. All right. So therefore, since the children have partaken of flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared in the same things, in order that through death he might destroy, having the power of death, that is the devil. So according to the Apostle Shaul Paul, he literally says the one that has the power of death is the devil. Okay? And again, that seems to point to the destroyer there. He's one and the same as the destroying angel. Okay? So we move on, though. We move on to the next cross reference here. All right, so we got Revelations 9:11, which literally the name Apollyon means destroyer. Okay, so we're going to go to Revelations 9:11. Okay, so I think I'll just read this in my Bible Gateway app here. Let me make sure that it's actually showing up on the shared screen. Okay. All right, so we do Revelations 9:11. Yeah. All right. Revelations 9:11 says, and they had a king over them, the angel of the abyss, bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, that is destroyer. So according to the footnote, that I really do appreciate the NIV giving you there in parentheses, destroyer. That's literally what the Greek name Apollyon means. That's the meaning of that word, of that name. It means destroyer. So I think Brother Joshua has something to add, either that or my screen is probably not working. He's probably trying to tell me something.
It's the Peshitta words it a little bit differently. I'm sure they're the same thing, but it's just interesting that Aramaic for Hebrew is Avadu. And then it says in Aramaic, his name is Shada.
Shada. Interesting. I do remember it saying something similar in the Bauscher translation. Let me see something really quick. Abadu definitely sounds similar to Abaddon. Just very, very a little different. Yeah. Shara. I wonder if that's how related Shara would be to Shiva. I'm just curious. Kind of as like a little theory I have. I wonder if the Aramaic Shara is similar to the Hindu Shiva. I don't know. That's something more to look into, I guess. But Shara, I just wonder what Shara actually means. Shara. So let me see something real quick. I'm gonna look this up really quick. Shara. Shara. Aramaic name. Well, let's see if there's a interesting. I doubt that's what it means. Celebration of a saint. Yeah, I doubt that's what it means. In Arabic, it's trying to say it goes back to Sarah. I really doubt that. Yeah, so it's not really showing much there. But I would assume if Shara is the similar, if it's the Aramaic version of the Greek Apollyon, I would assume, I mean, it means the same thing. I'm assuming it means destroyer. Let me see here. I know there's a couple other Peshittas I have here. Let's see, the Lamsa Syriac. Let's see how they put it. Oh, okay. That's pretty much the same thing. It's just spelled a little weirdly. Okay, so that's pretty much the same thing. So, yeah. So, very interesting. The Peshitta definitely has an interesting difference. So, very, very, very interesting. But anyway, the point reason we're bringing this verse up is literally Abaddon means destroyer. So the same word that's being used for this entity that's destroying the firstborn of Egypt, is being called the destroyer in Exodus 12. Literally, you have an entity coming out of the bottomless pit that is being called, quote unquote, destroyer. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I know people will be saying, well, isn't that supposed to be the beast though? That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, but I believe there's going to be a counterfeit oneness between Satan and the Antichrist. They'll become one when the beast comes out of the pit. when Apollyon comes out of the pit. So I believe Apollyon technically is the beast and Satan at the same time. That's why you'll see in Revelation 17, it talks about the beast will ascend out of the bottomless pit, but we know that Apollyon is the one ascending out of the bottomless pit, and he's called the messenger of the bottomless pit. So anyway, but that's a different topic for another day. So if we move on here, we got another verse that seems to allude to Satan being this destroyer, this angel of death, you could say. Hosea 13:14 says it uses the word death as a name for Satan for the most part. In Hosea 13:14, I think all of us are familiar with this, death, where's your sting verse here. Okay. Death is being referred to not as a coincidence or event. It's actually being referred to as a person, like an entity, like an actual enemy of the creator. So let's see here. I really like how the Vulgate translates this, because I think the way the Catholic public domain version does it is very well done, opposed to the Masoretic version of this verse. Okay. It says here, I will free them from the hand of death. So right away, Yahusha is referring to death as a person, not just as a situation. It says, I will free them from the hand of death. From death, I will redeem them. Death, I will be your death. Sheol, I will be your deadly wound. Now, obviously, he's not talking about just our fallen situation of dying. Obviously, he's referring to death as an individual in this context. Okay. I will be your deadly wound. Consolation is hidden from my eyes. So death or Sheol or Hades, you'll see in your Septuagint version, might call the person Hades. Okay, it seems like Satan is being referred to by name as death. So, because he has the power of death, and all that. So, it's very interesting here. In Hosea, it seems like death is not just a situation or something that happens to us. It's an individual being referenced to. So, very interesting. So, that was Hosea 13:14. Okay. And let's see here. We already talked about the Romans cross references. Okay, one of the last cross references we have here. 1 Corinthians 15:26. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 15:26. Okay. And it's Paul here. Paul is referencing the last enemy to be defeated is death. So again, Paul, in my opinion, is pulling from Hosea here. He's calling death a person, not an event, but an actual individual. He's calling death an actual individual here. Okay, he's saying the last enemy to be defeated is death. Okay. Lastly, the enemy called, I really like how the Vulgate puts it here. Lastly, the enemy called death shall be destroyed. For he has subjected all things under his feet, and although he says all things have been subjected to him without doubt, he does not include the one who has subjected all things to him. So obviously that's talking about the oneness there and how Yahuwah is first of everything. But in the prior verse, it's referring to death as an enemy, as a person, and it's saying he must be destroyed. So the last enemy called death shall be destroyed. 1 Corinthians 15:26. What's interesting about this, and you might be saying, well, Doug, how do you know Satan is this person called death? And how do you know he's the last enemy to be destroyed? Where are you getting the correlation here? Okay, well, if you look at Revelations 20, verse 10, to me, it's eerily similar to the verse we just read. Okay, obviously Satan chronologically is the last Shaitan adversary to be destroyed. Clearly in Revelations 20 verse 10, it literally says that. Because you have the beast and false prophet, chronological order, they're already in the lake of fire. They're already dead. So you see what I'm saying? Satan has to be the last enemy. If we're going to let Scripture define itself, let Scripture interpret Scripture. Okay? Starting at verse 9 here. And it says here, and fire from Yahuwah descended from heaven and devoured them. And the devil who seduced them was cast into the pool of fire and sulfur, where both the beast and false prophet are. Okay. Shall be. No. Hold on. No. That's not what it's supposed to say. All right, let me use a better translation here. Verse 10 here. It says, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where also the beast and false prophet are. And they shall be tortured day and night forever and ever. And just for argument's sake, because I know you're seeing R is not really there in the Greek of this manuscript. If you go to the King James, I believe it's actually there in that mate. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. Okay, so R is inferenced. The reason it's inferenced, by the way, by translators, if you read the previous chapter, the beast and false prophet in chapter 19 are thrown into the lake of fire before Satan. So, to kind of give the translator a lifeline here, I can kind of see why he's inferencing to put the word are there. Okay, they are already there. So I get that. Still, I'm not advocating adding to the word, but I'm just saying technically it's inferenced that they're already in the lake of fire, the beast and false prophet. But anyway, so that shows that Satan literally is the last enemy to be defeated. So which by default would mean he is the person being called death in Hosea, not Hosea, 1 Corinthians 15:26, which is also pulling from Hosea 13:14. So I believe that's the end of the study tonight. Let me just double check and make sure there's no other cross references to get to. Oh, no, there's one more. All right, so John 10:10 to me also proves that Satan is this destroyer. Okay, it says here, John 10:10, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. So another adjective being used for what Satan does is to destroy. He is a destroyer. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight's study. So hopefully this study was a baraka to all those that heard it, watched it. And I pray that Yahuwah would he would open your understanding to these things. If this is something you haven't heard before, I pray that you would test it. Don't just listen to what I had to say, and don't take everything I say as Basor truth. Test it for yourselves, guys. That's why we give the scriptures here in bullet point format, so you guys can test the scriptures for yourselves. Thank you for all of our brothers and sisters that tuned in tonight, and Yahuwah willing, we'll see you tomorrow for the Torah portion. So all of our brothers and sisters out there in Yahuwah Almighty, Yahushua Messiah, just want to say Shabbat Shalom. Have a very Baruch Sabbath out there. And we'll see you tomorrow. All right.